Keeping them honest, looking for facts, not trying to take sides for Democrats or Republicans. They do that on other cable channels you can watch there. Our goal is just real reporting, finding out the truth, also calling out hypocrisy, or in tonight's case, a baffling case of flip-flopping. Now, we've been doing some digging on a story that we first reported last night, and frankly, it gets stranger and stranger the more we look into it. It's kind of a long story, but just stay with me because this is weird. On Tuesday, the Senate rejected a UN treaty aimed at protecting the rights of disabled people around the world. It's modeled on the Americans for Disabilities Act. 125 other countries have ratified this UN treaty, but in the full Senate, 38 Republicans voted no, leaving the treaty 5 votes short of ratification. Now, what we learned today that's really interesting is that some of these very same senators actually supported the treaty before they voted against it. Some even pledged their support very publicly. Senator Roy Blunt of Missouri was one of the flip-floppers. So was Kay Bailey Hutchison of Texas and Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas. We asked all of them to come on the program tonight, and by the way, they declined. They're all silent on this. Senator Moran was actually a co-sponsor of the measure to actually ratify the treaty. He even put a press release back in May proclaiming his support for the treaty. I want to show you something else. Here's Senator Moran with former Senator Bob Dole in June. Dole, a war veteran, former Republican Senate leader, is a longtime supporter of disability rights and a strong advocate of this treaty. So just before Tuesday's vote, he came to the Senate chamber, 89 years old, frail in his wheelchair. He thought it was that important that it might make a difference, him being there. They didn't. Some of the senators, like Senator Moran, broke their word and then blocked the treaty. Others just voted no, and we don't even know why. You see the names scrolling on the screen there. Today we called many of them. No one would agree to come on tonight. So why did they vote no? Because they wouldn't come on. We can't know for sure. But what we do know is that some powerful conservative groups lobbied aggressively against the treaty, including the Heritage Foundation, the Susan B. Anthony Liz PAC, the Family Research Council, and Rick Santorum's Patriot PAC. And keeping them honest, they used arguments that just frankly didn't square with the facts. They weren't true, like this.
This is a direct assault on us and our family to hand over to the state the ability to make medical determinations and see what is in the best interest of the child and not look at the wonderful gift that every child is.
Now, former Senator and presidential candidate Rick Santorum led the charge against the UN treaty. He brought his 4-year-old disabled daughter Bella to his events, warning that the treaty threatened American sovereignty and would allow the UN to make decisions about disabled children in America. But that's just not true. Here's what Senator John Kerry, who fought hard to get the treaty ratified, said last night.
Well, I have great respect for both Rick and his wife Karen and their daughter and their family. He's a strong family man. But he either simply hasn't read the treaty or doesn't understand it, or he was just not factual in what he said, because the United Nations has absolutely zero ability to order or to tell or to even, I mean, they can suggest, but they have no legal capacity to tell the United States to do anything under this treaty. Nothing.
Well, as we told you last night, former Republican Attorney General Dick Thornburgh testified before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee in July, basically saying exactly that. There's nothing in the treaty that interferes with U.S. federal or state laws. Nothing. But that didn't stop Mr. Santorum from sending out this email to supporters after the vote saying, you did it, you made it happen. If it weren't for you, the U.S. Senate wouldn't have defeated the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, CRPD. He went on to say, quote, this treaty would have given the UN oversight of the health care and education choices parents with special needs kids make. Had it passed, CRPD would have become the law of the land under the U.S. Constitution's Supremacy Clause and would have trumped state laws and could have been used as precedent by state and federal judges. Again, that's not true. So why the fudging of facts? We also asked Senator Santorum on the program tonight. He too declined. So like the others who won't explain themselves, we can only guess their motivations. And frankly, some of this is kind of so baffling, we'd be taking some wild guesses. And we don't really want to do that. The treaty supporters, including Senator Kerry, simply say that politics and a paranoia about the UN trump the rights of the disabled in this vote.